Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. This is Coach Rose AJ, Carnivore Girl for Life, coming to holla at y'all real quick and maybe almost in a hurry. We don't know how the conversation is going to roll today. But get this, we have an outstanding, phenomenal, beautiful interview today with
Mhm.
Melly, and her she can be found with Fitness with Melly Mel on Instagram and YouTube, and it's on and popping. And she and I are actually the same height. I'm like 20 something years older than her, but she's a diva to be reckoned with. Okay. So she's also a model, and the context of this interview is really her sharing what she wants to share with us. And as usual, me interjecting with questions as time goes on, right, throughout the interview. But she's recently started the carnivore diet, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what led up to her wanting to transition and try the carnivore diet. And prior to that, she had some experience with keto. And Melly Mel believes in meal prepping, and she pays attention to her food, but she's not so far off the ledge to the left or right that she'll go out of her way and buy really expensive cuts of meat or products that is out of her budget range. She's really realistic, and she makes choices that are good for her. And then she is also about self advocacy and doing research on whatever pertains to her needs at the current time. So, Melly Mel, I am going to go ahead and mute myself, my dear, and you go ahead and take it away. Oh,
Well, thank you for that introduction. That was really sweet. Let me know if I need to speak up because I've been congested this past week, so I feel like okay, cool. Um, so hello everyone. Where should I start with this though? Like why I started with
girl, wherever you started, look prior to this, and I'm leaving this in here, Melly Mel. I'm leaving this in here.
No,
Okay.
it's fine.
So
It's
look,
fine.
so
It's
look,
fine. I'm just thinking
so
like,
look,
wait, where are
prior to
we
this, we
starting
had a little verbal warm up. And y'all, she was like, "Is this being recorded?" I'm like, "No,
at?
this is giving you the opportunity to ask me questions and me to make sure that I have the facts straight."
Yeah.
So it's always you start, it's your interview wherever you want to start. You can start with if you had a weight history when you were like 10 years old and it led you up to where you are today, you can contribute that, or you can just start with the last 6 months, whatever you choose to do, my dear.
Okay. I gotta think about that for a second. Like, hmm. I mean, yeah, I guess I'll talk about the last 4 weeks of the carnivore diet. I can start. I'm sorry.
I'm not editing this. I'm not editing these part. Okay, y'all. Y'all know me.
It's
Okay, I
on
don't do
me.
the
It's on my
edits unless it's absolutely necessary.
All
You get
right.
what you get, and
I
we're gonna
really
keep
forget
it
when it's
real.
recording too. All right, so I'll talk about the last 4 weeks on the carnivore diet. I was actually on my way to, I think I was coming back from Virginia. I'm in Pennsylvania right now. And I was listening to somebody's video, and the next video, it was about an autoimmune disorder. And so the next video that played right after was, I think it was Michaela, and I think that's her name, Michaela Peterson's um, conversation, or maybe it was her mom actually. It was her mom first, and then it was Michaela. But the mom's interview was interesting because she had like 10, I don't know, the lady has like 15 conditions that um have all gone into remission, and she has no symptoms, even though she still has the diagnosis. And they can't explain that. All they really know was that they attribute all of it basically to, in her case, eating lamb, because her diet is very particular. Um, and that's great for her. I was curious, obviously, about, just eating one piece of, I think not just eating one cut of meat, but just the concept of just eating meat overall for your diet and having no vegetables. Out of all the diets that I'd heard of, it was the first time. I mean, I've heard of, was it the Atkins diet? It's like high on meat. I don't even know what the all the details are. Um, but I never heard of the carnivore diet or the lion diet. And so then comes Michaela's video, and I'm driving while this is playing. So I'm just, I'm super intrigued because I'm already struggling with my weight, and I've been diagnosed with mood disorder, with ADHD. And so hearing about all these conditions and arthritis, hearing about all these conditions that were kind of resolved through the diet, I think made sense, but was very new to me. So I was very curious. I probably started the diet maybe 3 days after because I was just so eager to see like what would happen. I'm just that type of person that's like willing to like I cleared out my cabinets, my fridge, everything. I was on a mission. I was like, we're gonna find out if this works. And I might be upset that I threw all this shit away, excuse my language, but I threw it a lot away. I wasn't willing to be like, I mean, I was in such a state that I wasn't willing to wait out and eat like the week's worth of like rice or 2 weeks worth of rice and then start the diet. I was like, no, we're gonna start this right away. Like we're gonna see if this works. So I initially did an embody, which I don't know where it's at now, but I did an embody. I think my body fat percentage was like 38. Um, and so 38, 235 pounds. This was probably the day after I started the carnivore diet. I'm almost sure. Or maybe it was a week later. Either way, it was still within like that first week of starting the carnivore diet. Um, 38 is pretty high for me. I've been as low as like 12 and 11% body fat with having done bodybuilding. And so I've I was like, okay, like let's see how this diet affects um my body composition. So as much as I'm focused on the health side of it, I'm also tracking like my body composition and seeing how it affects that. Because to me, it's like I can feel great, but if I look in the mirror and I don't like what I'm seeing, I'm probably going to feel almost just as bad as I was. It's kind of like taking an antidepressant. You reap the benefits sometimes of taking this pill, and then you have to deal with the gain weight or you have to deal with the low libido. So there's pluses and minuses. I guess it just depends on what you want your minus to be. And so
So
mhm,
let me interject here. What you said is very transparent, very truthful when it comes to aesthetics, right? Most of us do follow a dietary protocol of choice or the most trendy one, whatever it is. And we would be remiss if we didn't say that maybe at the top of our list, if we're being really honest, it's how we look, how we feel, right? And it does come at a cost, right? It does come at a cost, but the reason I was dieting for so long was because I didn't like the way I looked in the mirror. And even when I did like the way I looked in the mirror, I had to keep that diet up in order to keep liking what I looked in the mirror. So I like having the aesthetics. I like having my body a certain way. And then the health would always come second. But now that I'm at the age that I am, it's flipped, but it's still my second priority. So I get it,
right,
girl.
right.
You keep going on. And for people that just say it's, and then for my mental health as well, there's other things that are at the top of the list. But for people that are saying it's exclusively for their health, I respect that. But woman to woman, I think how you look, how you feel, and how you flow, red carpet style, plays up in there too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, girl, go ahead. I'm sorry, I had to go there.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, yeah, I would be lying to myself. And I think that's why in my channel, I bring out like, okay, I'm gonna do a 360 here. I'm not comfortable. Like, and it's strange because it's like, I'm like, is this too much? And I'm like, no, I think somebody needs to see this. Like, somebody needs to see what I look like 360 at my starting point, and then like, let's see the evolution together. Um, it's interesting that a few years back, the last time I lost weight, I was going through the process, and like midway or like to the end of the process, I was like, dang, I should have recorded this. And now I'm back. I'm back and I'm sharing it. It almost feels like Life was like, here's your chance to share how you do this, and maybe it'll also help you have like some form of accountability. Because a lot of my weight loss transformations haven't been with a coach. I think coaches are essential, and in certain situations, depending on what your strengths and your weaknesses are, you should find somebody that can hold you accountable and help be part of that support system, especially if you don't have one at home.
Well, this is the thing. Coaches are invaluable, right? It depends on how you use them and if you find the right fit. But ultimately, the responsibility and the accountability is you, yourself, and you. So, no
Mhm.
matter what's recommended, how you're supported, I always say that you have to learn how to hold yourself accountable and be responsible to yourself. And it sounds like that's what you're doing with your Instagram page as well as your YouTube channel, like let's do this together, right? And sharing that.
I had somebody
So,
actually comment that they were like, thanks for like sharing the beginning of this process and not just coming all the way at the end when all your issues are resolved and all the ugly is gone and it's now beautiful and pretty and now we can just reflect back on your pictures. And I'm
right.
like, no, that's actually that's part of the reason why I'm doing it. And I actually after this interview I'll be recording my week 4 update, which I'm excited to share, of course. Sometimes it takes a little more motivation, like you don't even have the motivation to record, but you're like, this is gonna touch somebody, this is gonna mean something to somebody. So hopefully that message gets to somebody this weekend as well.
Can you give us some sneak peeks of week 2, 3, and 4? And when you do the video and you can send me the link or I can find it, I can include it in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
So give us a sneak peek of week 2, 3, and what you may be talking about in week 4.
So in week 2, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna like pull it up because now I'm like, wait, what did I post? Hold on. Limited access to transportation. So, all right. So week 1 was basically taking everybody along my journey to get my InBody results for that first weigh-in to see what well, I think it might have actually been my second InBody. And I think I had gained a little bit of fat and my muscle tissue had declined a little bit. And I had like my weight overall has been trending downward, which is good. That's what we think we want to see. But I think in my situation, because I'm also concerned with arthritis and just longevity, I'm also more interested in my muscle tissue um, more than I am just my weight. Um, and so week 2 was a longer video. It's basically taking you on my weight loss journey and just how I was raised a little bit heavier than most. I think I was like 100, I think I say that I'm like 135 pounds at one point. I was probably in third or fourth grade. And I remember asking somebody what their weight was, and they were like 85. And I was like, damn, that's a big difference. That's a really big difference. And even just looking at the pictures from I have a fraternal twin, and just looking at our pictures, I noticed there's a discrepancy, not just between like our height. I'm probably 3 or 4 inches taller than her, but I weigh a lot more. My frame is just naturally larger than hers and even larger than most people my own height, I would say. Like I can look almost the same as somebody that's 5'10" and 154 pounds, or no, I'm thinking about my friend Emily. She's 100, she'll be like 145, 150, and I can be up to 170 and I'll still look exactly, we look almost the same damn size in person, which is really crazy, but that was something I discovered during my bodybuilding journey. And so week 3, I was actually doing my reserve drill that weekend and I was sick. and I just wanted to upload a reminder. It was literally a minute and a half video, and it serves as a reminder that sometimes it's important to track your calories, which people came in the comments to let me know. Oh my God, no. How dare you? How dare you count your calories? You should be eating till you're stuffed. I am here to disagree. And that's what week 4 is about. Week 4 is going to be about basically the importance of or and I'm not married to anything, any principle in general other than like eat better, but whatever works for you. So if not tracking works for you and you like your body composition, then kudos for you. If you are geared towards like what the data is saying, how you're feeling, and then you need to track your information. You need to track what you're ingesting. Are you ingesting enough protein? Are you having enough fats? And stuffing your face is not really a good idea if you have chronic fatigue. And I say that because I would stuff my face at work and then I would get more tired. And so now I'm dumping caffeine down my throat to solve the issue.
So you raise an interesting point on that. So I started my ketogenic lifestyle December 2nd, 2018, after 6 months of contemplating after my rock bottom, right, in June of 2018. And I did intermittent fasting simultaneously. I did it all wrong, Melly Mel. I did it all wrong. But guess what? No, seriously, a lot of times we know what the facts or what the rules are, but I believe in making my own rules, right? For me. And so the ketogenic experience didn't work for me. I transitioned into carnivore in 2020. But I'm saying all this to say that I was trying to work with a 12-hour eating window with intermittent fasting and then gradually increase to 18/6, whatever it was going to be. But I learned very quickly because I'm a volume eater. I need to feel full and satiated so my mind won't keep going to what am I eating next. So I
Mhm.
solved that problem for me relatively early on. And I do track. And what is it? Chronometer. I've used that for years, right? So, but I don't necessarily feel that every person needs to track, but that's just something that I do for me, right? So I'm with you on that. And it's like eating until you're satiated. If you do that 3, 4, 5 times a day, you're no better off than when you started this lifestyle, right? So, yeah, yeah.
They're like, just eat till you're and I it reminds me, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's like the all-in approach to helping women recover from metabolic damages. There's a really popular YouTuber, she has like millions of followers, and she shared that experience with everyone because I think she had just been in a such a lean state for so long that she was so messed up. Like she could eat like 5,000, 6,000 calories in a day and just eat and eat and eat. And it was just insane. And I was like, I'm I'm like, what? You can eat that and just a small person. And so I think she even did a couple of 10,000 calorie days and she would just plow through calories and I'd be like, you're so small. So she wanted to repair her hormone panel or just her metabolic panel, but she did that all in approach. And I get that if that's like even with the carnivore diet, I get it if that's kind of what you're aiming for and you're really that messed up. But I did hear about another person who was doing the carnivore diet and it was interesting. She actually started off with a very strict carnivore diet and she ended up not seeing the benefits and started she actually continuously felt worse. And it wasn't until she implemented, I think it was like dairy, till she started to feel better. And then she eventually was able to come off of the dairy, I think by choice maybe, but regardless, I think it just speaks to people needing to uh, experiment with their diet and what works for them, their body, what makes them feel best, what they find sustainable, because that's another thing. Like I've done so many diets. I know I've done weight loss like 6 times already, people. Like if you want to see that story, I posted it and that edit took so long just finding all of that content. Um But if it's not sustainable, then I don't think it's maybe not the right diet for you.
So so I call the carnivore life for me, it's just a way of life, right? Like some people that are vegans or vegetarians or flexitarians, pescatarians, whatever they are, they identify that way. And I'm like, well, all that I've been through, might as well say, this is my religion. This is my way of life, right? I mean, seriously, it's my way of life. If you can call yourself a vegetarian, I'm going to call myself a meat eater, meat based, whatever you want to do. It's just the opposite of you, right? And really nobody can tell you how to do you and how what's going to help your palate help you stay within the parameters that you're choosing to. So my question to you is, you're 30 days or so in, what's different about your experience so far with the carnivore diet as opposed to the ketogenic diet or the standard American diet or whatever you have been on in the past? What's different?
So as of right now, I have less cravings. I still crave red meat. I've always craved red meat, which is something that also made this diet very intriguing to me because I was like, well, yeah, like okay, I'm gonna try it. And it sounds like it could be easy just because I'm always craving red meat. So I've been a pescatarian. I never got to be a vegan because I could not fathom the idea of giving up like protein from animals as a protein source. Like I just couldn't, and I tried. I mean I really wanted to bring myself to that point. Um because there's just so much that's out there on like how bad animals are for you, da 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 da. But I have less cravings. I actually right now, I'm probably tracking. My goal today, for example, was to hit 2,000 calories. And I'm just looking at my macros, and I'm like, I actually find that kind of hard to hit. So I make sure to supplement with the protein powders. And again, I am trying to consume at least 185 to 200 grams of protein, which again, if you're chewing all of that protein, it can be very hard. Um, Fats is a different story. I mean, you just put a stick of butter in your beef and you're good to go. You got you got all the fat. And so it's been interesting trying to manipulate my macros. I'm not so much married to it has to be a certain ratio or I have to hit 185, but upward as long as I'm hitting 150 plus, the rest of it can come from fats and I'll be happy with that.
Okay, so let me ask you, are you going to just take this one day at a time and see where it leads you? Or are you going to commit to 90 days, commit to 30 days? What uh, what is your game plan as far as are you going to do a timeline? Or are you going to wake up one day and just say this isn't working? Are you going to base no, are you going to base it on, because it looks like and it sounds like you're taking a lot of data. Are you going to base that decision on your data, how you're feeling, or you know,
Yeah, so my decision to continue, I I believe that we are meant to eat certain things like, you know, low hanging fruit, some berries from a bush. Like I don't believe we should be restricting ourselves from that, but something I can't deny are the medical issues that I have. And so I keto was an attempt to um deal with some of those symptoms as well. It wasn't just me trying to lose weight. It was my psychiatrist was like, "Hey, you should try keto. It'll help stabilize your blood sugar and it might help you with your mood disorder and your depression and all of this stuff." Um, so first and foremost, it's going to be how I'm feeling. If I am feeling like stable, like I'm not going into this like long lasting depression that I can't pull myself out of. Or I think another thing for me, I used to have this coach that would say, let, what was it? He said, focus on your performance and then you'll realize how important your nutrition is. So for me, my performance is a lot. I mean, I've tracked so many workouts. I've tracked workouts that I look back on now and I'm like, were you like what were you on? Like you were kind of superhuman. Like the amount of just reps, the amount of volume that I was pulling or pushing, the frequency with which I was just training consistently. I just look back at now and I'm like, what? You did that? You did that. So I'm taking that similar approach. I'm looking at how I'm feeling when I work out, how I'm performing, how I'm recovering. And then um ultimately I would love to say that one day I'll get to run again, like consistently, like long distance. And so for that to happen, my knees cannot be an issue. And if they've been an issue for the last 3 years, ever since my deployment to Iraq. So ever since my deployment to Iraq, I got hurt there. And somebody had said it arthritis is just another word for like we don't know what your body's doing or like we don't know what's wrong because of the constant inflammation. And it was literally like from one specialist to the next, we don't know why you have this. Like, okay, there's like assumption that there's been damage to your cartilage. And so therefore, when you do certain movements, you have inflamed knees. But I'm like, okay, but like what my knee gets ballooned up and then I can barely like walk and then it stiffens and it stiffens throughout the day. It doesn't even start that way at the beginning of the day. So I have it's a progressive thing and it lessens over time, but I never know exactly what is going to set it off. And I don't know how to prevent it. I would say that I just avoid altogether running and I've had to stop like squats. I've slowly and like knock on all the wood everywhere in this apartment because I have been able to do a couple of low jogs, like slow jogs over the last 2 days. And I've been doing it before my workout. So I focus on my mobility first, getting stretched out and just getting warmed up. And then I get on the treadmill and I'll walk for 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how sore I am. And then I started doing like these light jogs. It's like 6.5, 7 on a treadmill, always on an incline. So probably like 1.5. And then I see how my body's responding. I think the first day, my right knee, which is always the bigger issue, or the first one to get inflamed, was like, what are you doing? My knee was like talking to me. It was like, hurrah. And I was like, I'm just gonna ignore it. And if I get inflamed and I regret this tomorrow, then I at least I know I need to back off. I've done this probably twice a year since I got hurt. I will experiment to see how far I can take my body. And so I'm hoping this sticks. And if the diet means that I can do that, then there's no turning to another diet to like keep that.
Well, hopefully you will reap the rewards of less inflammation with this protocol. That's my hope for you, my wish for you, because I understand about high impact running and doing the darn thing, lifting weights and all that good stuff. And I think you and I only tipped the iceberg of the conversation with fitness today. But I do want to ask you if there's somebody that's before we close out that's sitting on the edge of the ledge trying to figure out, do I teeter and go back and stay, with what I've been doing for the past 5 years, 5 months, whatever? Or do I tip forward and try to maybe do the carnivore diet or just something a little bit different? What words of wisdom could you offer that individual to kind of make them consider going in the direction of starting something new or
Uh,
trying something new?
I would say that, and I remind myself of this every day, is like action comes before motivation. So I don't necessarily feel motivated to record some of my content, especially when I'm already taking so much time to process like internally what's going on with me. And so it's to share that with others and like put it out there to be critiqued or be commented on. And sometimes I'm like, what do you like? If you go to my comment section, sometimes you'll notice you're like, okay, what was that person thinking, right? So action become it comes before motivation, and it's not easy. It's definitely worth trying if it means regaining your health, regaining mental clarity. Um, I've my sex drive has been great. Not that I have a sex partner, but it's been great. And that's good to know because, it just lets me know like when the time is right, I'm not going to have an issue there. And I didn't even notice it wasn't an issue um, until I think I came off of my antidepressants back in like February. So, and that can be another conversation, but yeah, just try it out. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I think again, you need to make that decision before you feel motivated to do it. And when you feel the difference, you will be motivated to continue and be consistent.
That
And
is so good. And what? And
and
what?
please be consistent. Could be
Yes.
consistent. Yes, I know
Yes.
somebody who likes to say they have a little bit of this, they have a little bit of that, they have a little, and I'm like, but a little bit of this and a little bit of that got you to like 80 pounds overweight. So
Yeah.
be real with yourself, be honest.
And the reality is, motivation may never show up. It may never show up because I think you and I love fitness. We love food. We're both tall people. And also, I've had experiences with depression since childhood. I've never been medicated, which I want to invite you back. I'll talk to you after the show about that to maybe do another episode.
Mhm.
But I think sometimes motivation just doesn't show up. It can disappear for weeks on end. And like you said, just do the darn thing, right? Just be what is it called? Be what is the word I'm looking for, girl? Come on, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. And then tell us one more time where to find you on social media and what you have to offer on both channels.
Okay, so right now you can find me at Fitness with Melly Mel on both YouTube and Instagram. Currently just taking you guys on my journey with the carnivore diet and also anything performance related. Kind of getting into calisthenics and just taking you guys on that journey and what it might look like. I am 227 pounds, so it looks a little different. And I think we don't see that often enough where like heavier women are pursuing these kinds of activities. Um, so if you need some extra motivation, encouragement, inspiration, whatever it may be, yeah, head to those two and let me know if anything's useful. If you guys want to see something specifically from me or hear something about it, or hear something specifically from me, just let me know.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today, Melly Mel. I truly appreciate it. And just having a conversation with you. Y'all, she's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. We made it happen. And like she said, if you gleaned anything or you want to reach out to her, please give her a like, subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do to support her and to encourage her to keep sharing her story because progress is going to be made, right? It's going to be made day by day, week by week, month by month. So stay tuned. All right, guys, this is Coach Rose AJ, Carnivore Girl for Life, signing out for another wonderful interview, and we will see you next time.
Bye.